Hey, Altadena, thankful to be with you guys. It's Tuesday, July 8th, and just have a few quick thoughts for us today. Have you ever considered how a cow eats grass? Well, I was thinking about that earlier today and looked into it. So basically, a cow what they'll do is take a big bite of grass, and they have teeth on the bottom of the front of their mouth. They're kind of snatch it up, and then on the top of their front of their mouth is like a leathery pad. And so they don't even have teeth on the top and the front. They have teeth in the back on both sides, on both up and bottom. And so what they'll do, they'll grab a big swath of grass, and they'll take it and start chewing it. And they'll swallow it, and they chew kind of sideways, and what that does is it allows the grass to get kind of shredded up into smaller pieces. And so anyway, so what happens is they will go and take a huge, amount of grass into their system. They have stomachs the size of like a 55-gallon like kitchen trash can, and they will take in all that grass, and they will go and find a spot to lay down in the shade, somewhere nice, and they will chew on that grass. And well, you may be thinking, well, didn't they already swallow it? Well, they did, but this is where it gets weird. So cows have a way, they have a really unique stomach where they can actually bring it back up. It's called unswallowing, and they can unswallow their grass and bring it back and chew it some more and get more of the goodie out of it, more of the nutrients, the vitamins, digest it better. And what this does is it helps the cow to get healthy, to get strong, to get all the things that they need out of that grass. I wonder if that's kind of how the Christian life is, reading God's Word, hearing God's Word in a sermon, or in a Bible study, or in a small group setting, or just in your own personal home, just hearing God's Word, and it strikes you, and God's at work in your heart through His Spirit. But then, if you're like me, you go away, and it's just so easy to forget whatever God is showing you in that passage. And so what I like to do, and what I've found lately, is just going back to that same place over and over and over again, and seeing what God will teach me. And whether it's praying through that passage, whether it's just kind of thinking about it, reading it over and over again. And so and what God does is he shows you things through that you never saw before. And so recently I got a chance to experience that. I was one of my friends is a pastor at a local PCA church, and he told me that he was like, hey man, we're pregnant, and our due date is coming up. Would you be able to preach for me on short notice? I was like, okay, great. So he called me on short notice a few days before Sunday, and he said, hey, can you preach for me? The time's come. And I was like, okay, sure. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to preach a sermon that I've already preached before, because there's not really time to prepare a whole sermon. So I preached a sermon that I preached at Altadena about a month ago. It's the Unexpected Evangelist on John 4. And, if you remember the story, the woman at the well comes and talking to Jesus, and basically realizes that there's something different about him, that he knows her deepest secrets, and yet he doesn't run away. And so she's drawn in. And then we see her become converted at the end, and that she goes back. She's the unexpected evangelist who goes back, unexpectedly. She's coming out. Everybody, doesn't like her. She's got a lot of shame in her life, a lot of sin, and she's the one who goes back to her town, and so many of them come to faith. And so what I realized is, I thought, okay, she's the unexpected evangelist. Like, we need to be kind of like her, and be unexpected evangelists too. And that's great. But what I realized is there's another unexpected evangelist in that passage, and really, this is the most important unexpected evangelist of all. If we miss this one, we miss all. And that unexpected evangelist, there's actually a hymn that's written about him. He left his Father's throne above, so free, so infinite his grace, humbled himself, so great his love, and bled for all his chosen race. This unexpected evangelist, nobody expected him, because he was a king, and yet he wasn't rich. He was actually super poor. He did not have lots of money. He was a servant, and he was a hero. He fought for his people. He fought against their greatest enemies, but he didn't use weapons, and he didn't have an army. He fought against sin and death, and he made blind to see, lame to leap like a deer. But people hated him. People actually killed him in the end. And this unexpected evangelist, because he pursued his lost sheep, now he said, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." In other words, I will make you unexpected evangelists too. And so I didn't get that the first 2 times I preached that. And so what passage is there in your life right now? Maybe it's something that God has drawn you to the last few weeks. Maybe it's something about, in the pandemic, or maybe in the racial climate that we're in, where God has just brought you to this passage, and you feel like he's working in your heart. Maybe it's a sermon that's been preached. I would encourage you to go back there, to go back and back and back, and like the cow, to linger there, to be silent there, to pray through that passage, to see what else God would teach you from that, and just to experience the riches and the vitamins and the minerals, the nutrients, of that passage that God would have for you in your life, to draw you closer to him. So love you guys, miss y'all, see you later.